I'm John Otto. I had the opportunity to work with Eddie Harris for a few years in the late 70s. When I first heard him sing, I was so taken with the beautiful quality of his voice, not to mention the clarity of his diction, interpretation, and wonderful phrasing. I remember accompanying him on occasion alone, just him and me. I didn't realize it then, but this was helping to prepare me for what I would eventually do later in my career. Eddie introduced me to songs I had never heard before, and these songs would later become part of my permanent repertoire. I recalled the day that I told him I was leaving to go on the road with Woody Herman's band, and he couldn't have been more supportive. I also remember speaking to him on several occasions later on, and he always was very happy for my success. I am grateful to him, and I will miss him.
Unforgettable, that's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to you. How the thought of you does things to me, and never before has someone been more unforgettable in every way. Forevermore, that's how you stay. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too.
A few words about my good friend Eddie Harris. We met about 1966. I was flabbergasted by the singing voice of Eddie, and we were partners in the Dwight Howard Orchestra from, in my case, 66 to 74. I knew him to be not only a fabulous family man, but he was a Korean War veteran. Just a fabulous human being, and having a black singer in front of a band at that time especially was unique. But when anybody heard his voice, when anyone played with him, sang with him, whatever, they were always taken by his incredible musicianship and talent. And so I'll miss him. We'll all miss him very much, and thank you very much.
When you're smiling, when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, the whole world laughs with you. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain. Stop that crying. She likes a free, fresh wind in her hair, life without care. She's back, and that's back. It's California, 'cause it's wild and it's damn. That's why the lady is a tramp.
My name is Carl Barry. I'm a jazz guitarist, and I want to tell you about my relationship with Eddie Harris. I met Eddie Harris doing a sub for another fine guitarist, Don DeMarco, and that evening was a complete surprise to me. Here was this voice that came out to me out of nowhere that I did not expect. Very rich sound, and sounded so committed to the lyrics. And very, very much aware of the audience that he was performing for. The night progressed, and he actually did a show in the middle of this affair. And even at that, not only did he have a good connection with the audience, but he wound up doing some imitations of Johnny Mathison, Nat King Cole, and he showed such a variety of being able to do different songs, different material, imitations. It was really, really a quite surprise for me to hear all of that. As the night progressed, I had a chance to play some solo guitar while the band was taking a break, and Eddie proceeded to come up to walk to the bandstand. And I was going to say walk to the bandstand, but we got there anyway. And asked me about some songs, and we played some songs together, and I kind of got a really strong feeling of where the heart was and what he was committed to. It really, really added up to us having a really, really good relationship over the years. I did a number of jobs, many jobs for Dwight Howard, and the ones with Eddie, we always found that connection somewhere to try to bring some sort of creative approach to whatever we were doing. I did many concerts of his that he had in some of his clubs, and over the years, I would like to say he's as good as anybody I've ever heard or played for. I'd also like to say that kind of the music business isn't always kind to creativity or the level of certain performers. Eddie Harris was as good as it gets. He had a great sound, he had a connection with an audience, some of which I said before, and he's going to be really missed, not only as an artist and a great performer, but also as a friend, and I will miss him.
Hi, my name is Ken James, and I just want to pay tribute to the great Eddie Harris, who was the Jackie Robinson of the music business. And when I was a young lad coming into the business in Brooklyn, Eddie was one of my idols, and I loved talking with him. He very much encouraged me, and he was so calm and lovely and sweet to talk to. And here I was talking to the giant Eddie, and he was talking to me as if I was his best friend. a wonderful talent, great influence in my life, and I'll always remember and miss the great Eddie Harris.
I was so sorry to hear about Eddie. I worked with an office that was a competitor of Eddie's, and he was a legend in this business. I never knew him, but whenever a potential client said they were going to hear him or had heard him, we never heard from them again. Very sorry to hear.
This is excerpt from an email I sent to Bobby when he let me know that Eddie had passed. I second Albie's wish and fondly remember that it was because of Albie, through Nat, that I met and worked with Eddie. Eddie made every job a professional endeavor. His talents were off the charts. I loved every minute of playing in his and Bobby's bands. He brought authenticity to playing those club dates for us all. I loved it when he would cover Lou Rawls, Nat Cole, the Beatles, the Carpenters, Johnny Mathis, not to mention Zero Mostel. If you were there, you understand. His pride at bringing Stacy, his daughter, to jobs. He was a star in my eyes, in many ways, and I am saddened that I'll never have another chance to talk with him. And I signed it, a fan, David.
I'm Don DeMarco, and starting in 1973, I worked with Eddie Harris for about 10 years. I remember what an elegant gentleman he was. In that decade, the Great American Standard Songbook was still a major part of the repertoire before rock started dominating the club date business. Eddie used to sing songs made popular by Johnny Mathis and Lou Rawls and countless other male and female singers. And he always sounded great. His pitch, his phrasing, his interpretation. I remember how good his pronunciation was when he sang Italian songs in Italian. He was one of the very best singers I ever worked with, who never became famous. I had not seen him for many years and was happy to spend some time with him last summer at the party at Bob's house in August of 2017. He will be greatly missed. Rest in peace, Eddie.
Hi, Albie Burke here, and I just finished watching the Eddie Harris tribute video, and wow, I have to add this, because Eddie did mean a lot to me as well. I started with Eddie, Bob, Kenny, and Lenny with the original Dwight Howard when I was 17. Joey, the original drummer, was on the road, and I wound up doing a lot of the jobs. And it was, I had no idea what I was a part of, you know. It was one of the first club date bands to be putting on a show and with lights and sound system and, you know, and I had to play a show. And I was playing the Eddie Harris show. It was, man, and following Bob's horn going up and down was sometimes not easy, but it's how you learn the business. So, wow. Eddie used to play the bass back then, and he had this baby bass, and he was really good. He didn't read music or, even know what notes he was playing, but he just had a great ear and great feel, and it was really something. One time, after a gig, he takes me to a club in Bed-Stuy, a completely black club, and he brings me in with him, and there was Hugh Masekela, Al Foster on drums, stuff you never forget. And just like, you know, that's what kind of guy he was. About a year after that, he had a gig at Dangerfields. He was putting an act together and thinking about trying to go it as a singer in the club world. So I went to Dangerfields, and on piano was Wynton Kelly, Buster Williams on bass, and I didn't really know who they were at the time because, you know, I was busy playing club dates and, you know, wasn't that in tune with the whole jazz scene. But it turns out he was old friends with them. Who knew, you know? Just the amount of experience gained was just really something. And Eddie, you know, you were a big inspiration and a big part of a lot of lives. And just wherever you are, I want you to know that, you know, you are missed and you left a very big mark in this crazy world.
Zia visitata nada che la cavata me stomono vesta accise e vuse veva che Buckingham pastarera femmina goma te non go non stava nova onesta go mome femmina tu sei la mala femmina che sto che patinagna lacrime infamena femmina se tu pogiano vivere mentre si cade l'anima non voglio più combattere oh femmina mosito si conoscono però passaggi angelo ti sembra bengana oh femmina tu sia più bella femmina ti voglio bene Dorio non ti posso scordare Angelo, ti sembra bene